Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Enigmatic Entertainment, and I'm back again with another video. This time I'm going to be talking about a little bit about the PS Vita, and actually this is coming straight from a blog post that I wrote a few years ago actually about the Vita. It was my 10 must-haves according to me. So this was basically a list of 10 video games that I felt were just, must-haves, system sellers, gotta have them. They really accentuated the features of the Vita and whatnot. And they were just really 10 of my favorite games. And, I just wanted to bring this post to my channel, give it a video format rather than written, So I'm just going to be summarizing a little bit about what I actually wrote about the games. So, game number 1 is Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth. This one's a really niche title. It's a remake of the original HDN Hyperdimension Neptunia game for the PS3. Hence the Rebirth one. This game is basically a parody of the modern day console wars with a twist. In this world, Sega is still a part of it, and it's a four-way battle for control of the shares, which give energy to the goddess of the countries, named after the 4 console developers: Leanbox, Louis, Neptunia, and Last Station, which represent Microsoft, Nintendo, Sega, and Sony respectively. The main draw of this game for me are the characters, though. Besides the goddesses, there's the younger sisters and friends as well. All together, they make it a comical, cute, quirky, assemble of cast that really makes all the long bouts of dialogue in the game all the more bearable. I can really just play these games, any of them in the series, and just find myself laughing all the time. One important thing this title shows is that a remake can and at times does improve upon the original. Compare comments, reviews, gameplay of the original to the remake, and there's an improvement. Also, the fact that it went from a home console to a handheld just makes that detail all the more interesting. Now, I feel that's still completely true to me to this day, even though I wrote that years ago. The original HDN I never played. It's for the PS3, but I've heard it got really negative reviews. People didn't really like it too much and all that. It was, there's some problems with it. But the Vita version just brought whole new life to the version, to the series itself. Number 2, Rayman Legends. Now, I didn't happen to have the physical copy of HDN Rebirth, but boom, I have a physical copy of Rayman Legends. Bam. This is one that does not need much of an introduction. The Rayman series has been running for quite a while and fails to disappoint even with its wide changes from game to game. Legends is the sequel to Origins, and like Origins, it takes the sequel back once again to a style that's similar to the first, a 2D platformer. This is an easy recommendation to anyone who has played previous games in the series or newcomers to the series that are looking for a fun platformer with some difficulty and a lot of levels to go through. Also, Legends happens to include numerous levels from its predecessor, Rayman Origins, as well. They're unlockable during the story, which gives you something to look forward to if you haven't played Origins at all or if you just want to replay it. Easily one of my favorite platformers coming from a series that does the genre well. Very well. And once again, classic. This is one of the best Rayman games I've ever played. Easily. Just like the PlayStation 1 and the PS2, Rayman is a good platformer game. It doesn't get enough credit. I wish they'd make one for the PS4 now, or another one for the Vita, or for the Switch, or something, Third, Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster. Once again, bang. I remember I was at GameStop, and I was like, ooh, should I get it for Vita, or should I get it for PS3? And I was like, well, what's the difference? They're like, oh, there's no difference. I said, oh, give it for me for the Vita. I'd like to play it on the go. Because that's back when I was playing my Vita and taking it with me everywhere. Good times, good times. But, did you play Final Fantasy X as a child like I did and not finish it for whatever reason? Well, here's your chance to give it another go, and in HD at that. Final Fantasy X was originally released in 2001 for the PS2. And it was a game I put quite a few hours into it, but I had it on loan and I had to return it before I could finish it, unfortunately. I never got around to completing it until this remastered version, was released, and I'm sure glad it was. Not many changes were made to it, really, so if you play the original, you won't notice any difference except for one big area. Of course, the graphics, hence the HD remaster and all that. Also, on top of that, this release has X2 as well, which I had never played at this point. It's a direct sequel to X and features some returning characters and areas. The only downside, though, for the Vita is only X, or 10, is included as a cartridge. X2 is a digital download. So for those with limited memory card space, be ready to delete some things to make space for this classic, or just purchase it instead on PS3 or PS4 if need be. Once again, yes, 10 Final Fantasy 10 is a classic. 10-2 is a sequel to that. Some people don't like it as much because you only play as the trio of girls right there that you see. But hey, I still love it. It's awesome. Fourth, The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. And once again, like the other games, I have the physical copy of that too. Because you know me, if you see my previous video about my PS Vita collection, you know that I like to collect my PS Vita games, physical copies. Boom, baby. You know what it is. This is probably the first series I've seen that has multiple sub-series within it. I've never played a Legend of Heroes games until I've played Trails of Cold Steel, and I instantly became intrigued by it as a whole. Trails of Cold Steel is one of the sub-series inside the Legend of Heroes, or LOH, umbrella, and it's the first developed for the Vita and PS3 and truly shows what the consoles are capable of. A varied cast with character development, a wide variety of feelings are shown as secrets are told and drama unfolds. Paired with a different take on the classic turn-based battle system typical to JRPGs, as well as various side quests to complete, and even things like a fishing minigame and a big logbook to keep track of all your progress. Great for 100% players and trophy hunters especially. Makes it all the better. What can I say? Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. This is one of my favorite JRPGs, favorite Vita games of all time, and of course the sequel as well. A+, for real. Next, YS Memories of Celceta. And once again, guess what, guys? Ka-chow. I don't lie. Physical copies all day. That's how I roll. My personal introduction to the YS series. This game is actually one of the first ones that I got and pretty much showed me that the Vita has some great games. An action RPG, one of my favorite genres in gaming and also my favorite action RPG for the Vita. The combat system is nice and smooth, a choice of 6 different playable characters to use who all bring their own skills to the table and different playstyles. You play in parties of 3 at a time, with you controlling the lead character and the other 3 being able to switch out as needed. If you like exploration, then this is especially a good game for you, as a big feature of the title revolves around discovering every single area of the map, as well as having a journal to track various other details such as monsters, resource points, and more. Trophy hunters beware, you will be doing a lot of traveling to accomplish 100%. And yes, you really will. I did not get the platinum trophy on that game, but I didn't even want to try. I remember I got stuck at like 98% or something like that of the map discovered, and I just got completely frustrated trying to find that last like percent or two. Classic game though, I really love it, and it introduced me to the YS series, Next is Steins Gate, and boom, 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 bang! Physical games for the Vita all day, baby, all day. What is there really to be said about Steins Gate that you probably haven't already seen unless you're completely new to Vita? Well, not much really. A pure visual novel. Games like this have to rely mainly on their story to carry it, and Steins Gate just does that. Do you like time travel, scientific theories, and scientists discovering a bunch of sci-fi stuff? I sure don't. At first, I was actually completely put off by this, but a little down the line, I became immensely engrossed in the plot, characters, drama, the relationships between them, the tosses of humor every so often, and the alternate endings. All had me wanting more and more to see everything it has to offer. Multiple nights I stayed up for hours reading as much as I could before coming too tired to keep my eyes open and continue. If you're willing to get past the somewhat boring beginning, if you're into sci-fi and the like, then you'll enjoy that part too. Though, then this is one game that I cannot recommend enough. I hadn't had much experience at all with pure visual novels, and this was my first that didn't have some sort of gameplay elements mixed in. But based on what I heard about it, it was just something I couldn't see myself passing up. Usually I'm not the one for a lot of hype, but all the hype that's being localized just drew me in. And boy, did it ever. Steins Gate is still one of my favorite visual novels ever. Even the anime was good. And obviously, as you guys know, I have a review on my channel about those things as well, because it's just so good. And I also recommend a sequel. At the time of me writing this post, Steins Gate 0 wasn't out yet, of course. But moving on, Gravity Rush. As you can probably tell from the title, this game has a lot to do with gravity. And if you're a fan of action games, you will indeed be getting a rush from this one. The feeling of falling through midair while changing gravity to fly, fight enemies, and walk on ceilings to explore new areas and find collectibles is great. Really the only game I can recall playing where it's centered around gravity, and it's definitely been done well. Using the gravity powers, you're able to do things such as pick up and throw objects and do high-speed flying kicks towards enemies. As you advance, you also collect orbs that you can spend on upgrading your abilities and unlocking new movies. Funny enough, the setting fits quite well. The game takes place on a floating island you're able to explore. What better place for a game focused on using gravity to fly? A commercial success as well as being received well by critics, this game is sure to please and is another one that is highly recommended by many. You wouldn't think that this one actually lost my interest at first, just like the previous title on the list. But when I decided to pick it back up, I quickly had a change of heart and was quite satisfied overall. Sometimes it takes the break of things to truly enjoy them, and Gravity Rush turned out to be one of those for me. Also to mention, it has a remastered version for the PS4 that includes all DLC of the PS Vita version, as well as improved visuals. So play it on whichever system you have. And once again, I still feel the same way. I remember playing Gravity Rush and then putting it down for a little while, and I don't remember why. I got bored or something like that. A few weeks or so later, I believe I picked it back up, or maybe months, and I was just like, "Oh, this game is actually not bad." What was I thinking? And I just beat it. Next, Persona 4 Golden. If you go on any internet forum, anywhere, especially Reddit, really, you will find people constantly naming Persona 4 Golden whenever it comes to the Vita boys. And I don't have the original case for it, unfortunately, but I still got the game on a physical copy, guys. You know what it is. You know how I get down. So, a remake of Persona 4 for the PS2. Once again, the Vita introducing me to a long-running series that I hadn't previously known about, the Persona series. The Persona series is part of a larger series titled Shin Megami Tensei. Based on this one alone, I became excited for the next in the series, Persona 5. This game is easily on my top PS Vita games as well as my top RPGs in general. If I had known a Persona series like this, I probably would have played it back on PS2. At first, it might seem like a typical slice-of-life anime-based game or something, but it's far from that. The twists and turns the plot takes, the various characters develop social links with, and the variety of the combat system using various personas and combining them to acquire even stronger ones is something completionists can take some time out to fully master and enjoy. Complete with an interesting cast of characters and a murder mystery having you question every new person you meet. The only downside for me personally might be the random dungeon generation, but that's not big enough of a feature to turn me away. Even if you play the original, I would recommend playing the remake. It has such features as new events and an alternate ending and various other differences you can find a list for online or play both games to see fully for yourself. Highly recommended by fans and even newcomers to the series, such as myself. Now, once again, Persona 4 Golden just like blew my mind, baby. It blew my mind. I was like, man, I did not know anything about Persona. And I freaking loved it. And then I wound up playing Part 5. And I was like, oh, this is great too. Now I'm looking forward to Persona 5 Royal and Persona 6 and all that other stuff. And then I went back and played Part 3 and you know how it goes. But definitely highly recommended. One of the best JRPGs, just like I said with Trails of Cold Steel as well previously. Now, moving on. Next we have Danganronpa. Trigger Happy Havoc. I don't have the case, unfortunately, guys, because all GameStop gave me when I got this game is a freaking sleeve like this, unfortunately. And I don't understand why. They didn't even have a case. I was like, this is the first and only time I've ever had GameStop do this to me. And that's why I don't like buying games from them. You hear that, GameStop? Stop giving us freaking little envelope sleeve things. Give us a case, even if it's a generic one like this. I mean, come on. But hey, that's another rant for another time. Just, Anyways, the second visual novel on this list, but not the last, bit of a hint at what's the next one on the list. Unlike the earlier one, Steins Gate, this is not a pure visual novel. It does have gameplay features. You get to explore the school in which the plot takes place, as well as go through the courtroom-style class trials, which have you solving murder mysteries every chapter. 15 high school students with no memories of recent events trapped inside a school that's been locked up tightly. They're left to find out why they're trapped, who did it, and what happened in the time frame of their missing memories. All the while, a mysterious antagonist behind the scenes is providing them with motivations for them to kill one another and tries their best to convince the class that it's the only way they will be freed. If you like visual novels and or point-and-click games, then this is definitely the game for you. The story is so compelling that I instantly became hooked and found myself getting the sequel and watching the anime series and more afterwards. I just had to find out what happened to these characters and why things went the way they did. Among the highest of recommendations for Vita games. Only downside might be the difficulty of the actual clash trials. But once again, with enough trial and error, no pun intended, or a quick search online, you get through it, or you're going to play on the lowest difficulty. Whatever gets you through to experience it to the fullest. And, once again, my personal opinion, I still stand by that to this day. I've played all the games in the series since I wrote this. I've watched every anime. I've read the spin-off manga. Just good stuff, guys. Classic. If you have a Vita, get this game. Get it. You see it? Come on, get it. Okay. Now, moving on, last but not least, here we go, guys. You know what it is? Number 10. Or number 1, I guess, if you're counting down. You know what it is? Boom. Zero Escape. Virtue's Last Reward. Oh, yeah. Last but not least, the game that led to me becoming interested in visual novels at all. Zero Escape. Virtue's Last Reward is the sequel to 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors for the DS. Shortly after getting my Vita, I decided to check out a demo, and that demo was this. I was a bit interested at first, and then decided later on to actually look into the game and saw that it had a previous title in the series, and went to play it first to catch up on the story. This title, like the previous, Danganronpa, is also a visual novel that is not a pure VN. It is a combination adventure game as well. You spend most of your time in the visual novel sections passing the story along, but you also have to make choices at pivotal points as well as solve puzzles to escape rooms and advance further. There are multiple endings which you'll learn details about the various characters in, as well as additional information that can only be gotten through completing the game on hard mode. So there's quite a bit of development and backstory to learn for those interested in learning as much as they can. If not for this game, I might not have played some of the other ones on this list. Not to mention the sequel to this game was my most anticipated game of this year as well. If you're a fan of disturbing stories, a soundtrack that does its duty of amplifying that, as well as escape room puzzles and choice making, then this is definitely the game for you. Just make sure to check out the first game in the series though. Having a Vita and not having this game just doesn't do it justice. So guys, for the most part, that was my that was like the top 10 must-have post that I made a few years ago, back in actually over 3 years ago now. I made it in 2016, and I still pretty much stand by it to this day. Looking back on it, I remember how fondly I like these games. Just going into my closet and digging out these cases and looking through it and reading this, I'm like, I love it. Not many games have come out since then that I really feel could top these. Really, I mean, Trails of Cold Steel got the sequel, Trails of Cold Steel 2. YS got a sequel, YS 8. Steins Gate got a sequel, Steins Gate 0. Gravity Rush got Gravity Rush 2, which is on the PS4. It's not on the Vita, unfortunately. Persona 4 Golden got Persona 5. Danganronpa got 2 and V3 and the spin-off game, And Zero Escape got Zero Time Dilemma, the third in the trilogy. So those are the only games really that I feel like would come close, basically, and they're all sequels of games on this list. And Hyperdimension even got a few sequels and spin-offs and whatnot. So I personally would say the Vita means life. So it might not be getting a whole bunch of new releases right now, guys, but it still has some of the best games I've played. I've had a Vita for almost 6 years now, I believe. And I spent at least 3 or 4 of those years playing it excessively, taking it with me on vacations, to the store, the doctor, everywhere I go, on the bus, the train, car rides. My Vita, my trusty Vita, was on my side, in my pocket, in my hands, reading constantly these visual novels or playing these games, platformers, JRPGs, you name it. It has a little bit of everything. But, that's all for now. Just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Pick up Danganronpa if you have not done so already too. Oh, Danganronpa. Moe Akuma. Okay. And if you have any questions, comments, all that good stuff about the Vita, any of these 10 games that I listed, their sequels, any games that came out in the series in general, I pretty much played most of them. You know what it is. I'm that guy. Vita in my hand. All that stuff. Follow the channel on Twitter. You know what it is. Remember that channel has a Discord server now. If you use Discord, you want to join, you will need the invite link. I got you. I got you with that. I'm going to hook you up. You know what it is. And that's all for now, guys. So, Enigmatic Entertainment, I'm out.